all the information you need so you can participate in the legal night, zooming all across the country and in the region. So you want to make sure that you call in, get all the information, because we will be here this Thursday for our monthly legal night. It's the last Thursday of the month, and so it is legal night at National Action Network. You want to call 877-626-4651, 877-626-4651 to get all of the login and password information that you need. Of course, it's always the same every month. The password is legal night, all spelled out. The meeting ID is 836-4846-5548. I'm sure you didn't get all of that, which is why you're going to call 877-626-4651 to make sure you get all you need to know with regard to this Thursday. Last Thursday of the month is legal night at National Action Network. We want to see you and want to make sure that you're letting your friends, family, and those you care about know that they can tune in and be a part of and get their questions answered on legal night this Thursday, June 30th at 7 p.m. We're also very saddened here at the House of Justice because one of our dear lifetime members, Dolores Adams, has a devoted mother of man, member of the Women's Auxiliary, and a longtime activist and friend of the movement, has passed on and gone home. And we send our heartfelt prayers and condolences to her family during this time. She was a great participant here at National Action Network and a fantastic supporter in all that she did, and she will be missed. And we send our prayers and condolences to the family. But right now, brothers and sisters, I want to bring on Dr. Alvin Ponder. He's got some additional information for you.
Thank you, Attorney Harding. Good morning, and thank you, brothers and sisters, listeners and viewers, for tuning in to another Saturday Action Rally with the National Action Network. Here's some information to keep you in the know. On a light note first, documentary on Reverend Sharpton closes out Tribeca Film Festival with positive reviews. Last week, hundreds of people traveled to New York City to catch a glimpse of the documentary Loudmouth, a documentary focused on Reverend Dr. Darius Sharpton and the civil rights movement that he waged in New York City. The documentary, directed by Josh Alexander and produced by musical icon John Legend, received positive reviews. Quote, Sharpton has been accused of spotlight seeking. In the documentary, that's by design, in that Sharpton from early on was deliberate about being loud, hold up, ubiquitous, and on TV whenever and wherever possible as the best strategy to change the narrative. And eventually the law around social justice, wrote Variety magazine. Quote, continues, the family of George Floyd was in the audience for the premiere of the documentary at the Tribeca Film Festival at BNCC, incidentally where the announcer used to teach. The festival's closing selection ushered in the national Juneteenth holiday, end quote. The event held last Saturday, again at the Borough of Manhattan Community College, quote, celebrated Sharpton with the kind of big screen portrait that has been commonplace for an older generation of civil rights leaders, but had until Loudmouth eluded the 67-year-old civil rights activist, noted ABC News. The quote goes on to say, Loudmouth contextualizes Sharpton's legacy as an extension of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, Representative John Lewis, and others, while at the same time chronicling his unique longevity, despite plenty of naysayers along the way. Reverend Al Sharpton blasted the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade, the landmark ruling that established the constitutional right to abortion in 1973. Sharpton said, the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe versus Wade is a blatant attempt to bring us back to the Dark Ages. It will disproportionately impact black women and poor women. This must be resisted aggressively. States must enact laws to protect women. Today's ruling leaves abortion. This was written the other day when the ruling came down. Today's ruling leaves abortion legality up to the discretion of individual states. Listen, 26 of which are likely to ban abortion through trigger laws, 6 or 8 week bans or near total bans. A leaked draft of the decision in early May sparked widespread backlash across the country from pro-choice supporters, and activists who assert that removing this right will only lead to unsafe, clandestine abortions and force women to carry unwanted pregnancies to term. NAN condemns U.S. Supreme Court ruling on guns. As the debate around gun control rages on, in the wake of the deadly shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde, the U.S. Supreme Court has struck down a New York law restricting gun carrying rights. The ruling expands gun rights and can have implications for California and New Jersey. Reverend Sharpton said, the Supreme Court's decision on carrying a gun in New York is devastating and potentially dangerous. Quote, this ruling could not have come at a worse time, as we have been working to de-escalate gun violence in the city. It has never been more important for Congress to pass meaningful legislation to combat the epidemic that is gun violence in this nation. We're not out of the woods yet, Sharpton said at the, strike that, thank you. Welcome to all of you who have tuned in and joined us also via live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and also live on Facebook at National Action Network. If this is your first time joining us or if you're not a member of NAN, we welcome you to NAN and invite you to join us and get into the action today. For more information and to join, you may visit www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call 877-626-4651. Again, that's 877-626-4651. Or just text the word NAN, N-A-N, to 59769. Welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ponder. Right now, brothers and sisters, we want to know what's on your mind. And Katrina Jefferson is usually here to ask that question, but this morning is our dear brother and New York State Coordinator, Crisis Director, Derek Perkinson wants to know what's on your mind. Good morning.
Good morning, Attorney Hardy. Good morning, Nan. What's on your mind? Welcome to another weekend's conversation on what's on your mind, where you, the community, and membership base have the opportunity to engage with the National Action Network by sharing your thoughts and viewpoints 24 hours a day by emailing us at whatsonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net. That's whatsonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net, or by calling us at 877-626-4651. 877-626-4651. And I would like to take the first audience member. Please say your name and what's on your mind.
Hi, good day everybody. God bless everybody. My name is Sister Reverend Word. I'm from Heaven Born in Harlem. I'm 71 years old and new, and I'm a NAN lifetime member. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, and God loves everybody. What's on my mind, of course, is Bible scriptures. For example, Christ Jesus clearly showed us that demonstration to legislation is very, very important. This is voting time, and this is one way we could demonstrate who we would like to legislate because they have shown themselves in the past to be for the people. I personally am using one of my voting rights to vote for Jumaane Williams for governor of New York State. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you for telling us what's on your mind. The thoughts of those people, what's on your mind is not those in the National Action Network, but what's on your mind? What's your name and where you from?
Good morning, sir. My name is Crystal, and I'm a member of the National Action Network, recent newlywed member. I was in the library the other day, and I came across a book that says New York Public Library Connections 2022, a free guide for formerly incarcerated people in New York City. If y'all haven't already presented this to the audience, it's a very good book for newly incarcerated people, everything from soup to nuts, healthcare, housing, everything. And it's, I'm going to leave, I only brought one, but the library got plenty of them. I'll leave this one in the back. Can I say one more thing? In light of all these massive shootings, like the recent one with this kid, I think the family should go down. It shouldn't be a day of celebration. This kid, it was a massacre. It was a tragedy. They should have an all black. They should have a wailing unit. Women were weeping and wailing and crying and screaming and all that. Don't come out with this celebrating one's life. No, with the balloons and all the colors and all, being all black, crying, screaming, so that the children will see that death is not something we got to get normalized. We can't normalize these tragedies. We got to show some company, say, oh, really show that this is horrible. And don't just, well, we're going to celebrate his life and he did this and the coaches is talking about,
Thank you. Thank you for saying what's on your mind. Yes, sir. Where you from? Name it for where you from.
Good morning. My name is Jeffrey Burton, and I'm from the Bronx. I'm a recent member of the RAND organization. I am particularly outraged by the recent decision by the Supreme Court to reverse Roe versus Wade. I think this is a tragedy for America, and we have to stand up. We have to fight this. We cannot tolerate the decision of the Supreme Court. So I encourage everybody to do whatever we can do to get involved to reverse this kind of insanity.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Come on up. And what's on your mind? Name and where you from.
My name is Claude Jasper Herbert Jr. And I'd like to recite a poem if I might. I couldn't get through it a few weeks. Well, if it has to be that quick, I'll wait till next time. All right? I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, what's on your mind?
Hello, my name is Matthew Doyers. I'm from Tampa, Florida, but I've been a resident here in New York City for the last 30 years. So my kids are, I want to start off. But anyway, I want to talk about human rights. I'm not going to go too much into it, but apparently in this city, we are all fighting for abortion rights and gun rights and all these things, but really that's irrelevant to the fact that humans here do not have rights. But I'll be coming to the meeting, but unfortunately all my devices, my phone, everything's been taken from me, my property, which these private organizations are literally keeping people in lawfulness environments and corrective justices and treating people like property, which people today should not be considered as property. But we'll speak on that later on. But this was on my mind today. We are fighting for these human rights. And again, I've been a victim, been utilized, been a victim. I've been in the city through film school, barber school, culinary school, barber school, film school, all these schools. I've been in law school the last 2 years. And the fact is that education has been deprived too. It's been a factor. So are we talking about these rights and human rights and gun rights and abortion rights when we don't have no rights at all?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Gun violence. Here's what's on my mind regarding gun violence. In the same way, a nationally certified personal trainer has to have insurance prior to receiving a legitimate personal trainer certification by law, I think gun manufacturers, gun dealers, and gun buyers should be required by law to have victims insurance for each firearm prior to being able to purchase weapons. No justice, no peace. That was an email from Brother Shan. And that concludes this weekend's conversation of what's on your mind. Keep in mind everything you've heard today were simply the thoughts and viewpoints of the contributors and do not reflect those of the National Action Network directly. And remember, you can interact with us 24 hours a day by emailing what's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net. That's what's on your mind at nationalactionnetwork.net, or call 877-626-4651. That is 877-626-4651. And back to you, Attorney Hardy.
All right, thank you, Derek Perkinson, for what's on your mind. Derek Perkinson is crisis coordinator, also heads up around New York State organizing, and Katrina Jefferson, our coordinator here at the House of Justice. And Derek, if you want to know what's on my mind, it's Thursday, June 30th, legal night here at National Action Network. It's the last Thursday of the month. It's legal night at National Action Network. Call 877-626-4651 to get all the information you need to call your friends, family, and those in need so that they can be on and participate in our legal night this Thursday, June 30th, 7 p.m., the last Thursday of the month. Right now, brothers and sisters, we're going to go in the House. And in the House this week, we're going to bring the work of the committees here at National Action Network and the work that they do in the House of Justice and about the community. And this week is Education. Gina Williams, she's the Education Committee person here for the House of Justice committees. Gina Williams.
Good morning. Thank you, Nan family. Thank you, Attorney Hardy, for that introduction. My name is Gina Williams. I'm the chairperson for the Education Committee. There's a lot happening right now. So Chancellor David Banks just had a news release. So we are going to start that pilot program that he spoke about earlier. And it's going to be called A School Without Walls. This program is going to be marvelous because it's for some of the students starting with 9th grade high schoolers that are very maybe uncomfortable returning back to school for several issues. One of them is safety. The second is because of the pandemic. So we all know that children learn better when they're in a productive, adaptive environment. So the hybrid will be in person and half-day online remote. The other part of the program will be virtual pathway. That will be fully remote sessions. And you can go online to Chancellor's Press Office, press@schoolsnyc.gov for the detailed information when the registration begins on June 23rd, and it does not have an end date yet in this emailing. However, we also have something wonderful that's coming up. I'm going to encourage all people to be a part of this. It's the Education Summit, and this is going to feature the future of education in New York on August 18th from 9 to 3:30 p.m. at the Museum of Jewish Heritage located at 36 Battery Place. What is this going to talk about? This concludes the second full pandemic year. We're going to be talking about the future of what education holds, the present issues facing New York City education system, and that is closing the gap for achievement, state testing, school safety, special education, providing supportive services of behavioral and mental health assistance to students and to staff. And this is long in the making, so who is the keynote speaker? Of course, the one and only newly Chancellor David Banks. We need to work collaboratively with him, with the mayor, because this is a tough assignment right now. He's come into his administration enduring a pandemic and the aftermath. So there's a lot to be discussed here. We're going to have Lester W. Young, who is the Chancellor for the New York State Board of Regents, Betty A. Rosa, the Commissioner of Education and President of New York City Universities, Shelley Mayer, State Senate Committee on Education, John C. Liu, the Chair, State Committee of Education in New York City, and most importantly, Nair Slade, Chair, New York State Senate Subcommittee on Students with Special Needs. There are a host of others who will be there. Now, just recently on Friday, UFT had a protest down at City Hall. Why, you might say? Well, they are talking about the budget. The budget is out, and even though they said we have millions of dollars coming, there are millions of dollars taken away at the same time. So what are we doing? It's not really a win-win, but parents' voices need to be heard, students' voices need to be heard. Most importantly, the community needs to be heard. So what are you going to do about this? I would encourage you to start petitioning. Why? Because this money is needed to restore the smaller classes, which is the priority right now in New York City. Now, the bill was already passed to cap the class size through the Senate and the Assembly. What does this mean? It's such a simple task. I'm calling everyone to come to the forefront and put action. We need the Governor, Kathy Hochul, to put the power to the pen and to sign this bill so that it can be effective for September, so that our children can learn appropriately and efficiently. Because we know that they do better, they respond better when they're feeling as if they're having enough attention, they get time to ask questions, it's not overbearing for the instructors, and it's a win-win for all. It includes parent participation for those parents who are stay-at-home parents. Now, a survey had been done for pre-pandemic years. So this survey is to solicit the feedback across the 6 elements of the framework for great school basics. Now, what is this based on? The 6 elements are going to be based on trust, effective school leadership, supportive environment, rigorous education, instruction, collaborative teachers. Most importantly, we have strong family community ties. That means all of us present in this room. That's the grandparent, the caretaker, the foster care parent, the neighbor next door, the person in the bodega, you sitting right here. Now, in lieu of the gun laws right now, school safety is at a prevalent. We probably need 2 times as many school safety agents in our schools right now. So we know Mayor Adams had effectively, on May 25th, seized all illegal guns. Now, with the illegal guns, we know ghost guns are out there. Those are going to be the hardest guns to track because there is no tracing. You don't have to be a certain age. You can order it online. You put the pieces together. This is very, very dangerous right now. Now, Kathy Hochul, what did she do? She was in the Bronx on June 6th. She signed a bill to reduce the gun violence. But in lieu of all of these efforts, the Supreme Court has now reversed. And now people can carry guns anywhere and everywhere. This is not good, and it's not going to be good for New York City at all. So right now we have suffered yet another loss. A young, legendary Harlem hero, a role model to the youth as being a scholar himself, a young man with a promising future, an all-star in every aspect of the word all-star, in sportsmanship, leadership, educational goals. His name is Darius Lee. Let's remember him. Let's honor him. Let's get a street sign named after him. And why do we do this? We do this because people, young children, parents who are taking their children to school can look up and say, Darius' life was taken, but I'm going to follow his lead. Never in trouble, no problems in school, educated, full scholarship. This was a senseless murder. Reverend Sharpton and the NAN Youth Huddle and all the committees here are supporting the family during this time of this heartbreaking, unimaginable grief. Remembering our community right now has experienced a lot of trauma, and what we need is counseling and we need healing. So the unanswered questions have to have answers, and justice has to be done in the capture of this shooter. There are posters up right now for Crime Stoppers. The information is there. I am calling on you, community. You hear something, say something. You know something, say something. Someone is telling you something, encourage them to give that information. It's confidential. We must have justice for this family. Right now, how are we really going to be doing this? Well, it's early voting. And right now, early voting has 2 more days. Today, Saturday, and Sunday. And the hours are 9 to 5. So you really need to know, because it's the elected local officials that are definitely going to help with this task order right now. So that's the governor, lieutenant governor, assembly seat, state committee members, male and female, your circuit court judge, your civil court judge, your delegate to the judicial convention, the alternate to the judicial convention, and also the county committee members. County committee members are the most important on the ground because they're the influencers to the whole election process to get voters out. So I urge you all to please, please, please stay true to the task, and let's put the action in our work. Thank you very much.
All right, and just to tap that off, don't forget, Election Day itself, early voting ends, but Election Day is this Tuesday here in New York State, and other states across the country are also voting this week coming. So check out wherever you are, but make sure you vote. Right now, brothers and sisters, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
Exceedingly, abundantly, above all you could ask or think, according to the power that worketh in you. God is able to do just what He said He would do. He's gonna fulfill every promise to you. Don't give up on God, 'cause He won't give up on you. He's able. Yes, He is. Said God is able to do just what He said He would do. He's gonna fulfill every promise to you. Don't give up on God, 'cause He won't give up on you. Don't give up on God, 'cause He won't give up on you. Don't give up on God, 'cause He won't give up on you. He's able.
That is our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, accompanied by Chris Garland. Right now, brothers and sisters, it is the NAN Youth Huddle. We want to bring on Brother Usman Diallo and Sister Aaliyah Gilroy Nickens, reps from the Youth Huddle. They're going to come to you right now and bring on the family of Darius Lee. Let's welcome them.
Good morning, National Action Network. My name is Usman Diallo. I'm political science major at SUNY Albany. Today we are gathered here because we are in the midst of a fight for our lives. We are in a war for our democracy. And in the past couple of days, we have seen the Supreme Court hand down some horrible decisions that disproportionately affects the most marginalized of us, which is Black people, Black women, and people with low income. And these decisions have been justified by their religiosity, and this is disheartening because it has taken away our faith within the American democratic process. And this is a dangerous thing because without our faith in them, this is no longer a just society. It is no longer legitimate because without the power of the people, without the consent of the people, this thing we call a democratic government is no longer legitimate. And once again, it falls on us to build this union, to repair this country, because as soon as we heard the decisions come down, we heard let's vote, let's vote, let's vote. And we have voted countless times again. And I truly believe there is something else we must do. We must heal our community, and we must receive something that comes after our vote. We receive more excuses instead of solutions. We receive more of the same and less of a change, but we'll still come out and organize again and vote again and listen to you again, because if not us, then who? The Supreme Court just overturned Roe v. Wade in a time where we are having a formula shortage, in a time during inflation, a time where we know healthcare, housing, and education, and almost every other service system is inadequate. But yet the court and our government officials are focused on what a woman can or can't do. America is about time we reevaluate our values and what we hold near and dear to our heart, because it looks like we value control over care and profits over people. The court has also struck down New York State gun laws after they saw what happened in Uvalde, after they saw what happened in Buffalo. But they still struck it down. We are seeing violence everywhere in our community, especially in our community of Harlem. There has been shootings weekend after weekend, week after week, and we must truly do something to combat this. To bring this closer to home, the tragic shooting that we hear about that happened in Harlem, 139th and 5th, Aaliyah and I and Felivi, the youth leaders with Nayan Youth Huddle, we were all there, we were there. We experienced that tragic event, but we also seen how the community came after to honor Darius. And once again, I offer my condolences to the family, and I want to say sorry for not being able to do more that day. I want to say that I'm sorry if I held you from going to see a loved one last time. I'm sorry for not being able to get the cops. We're sorry for not being able to get the cops and the ambulance there quicker, because as he was there on the floor, he was breathing, and we ran, we was trying to get the people, and I'm sorry for not being able to do more, and we offer our condolences. And I would just like to pass it on to Aaliyah, and she will give the services we're having on Monday, and also she could record her own experience.
I want y'all to say his name after me. Darius Lee. Darius Lee. Darius Lee. Darius Lee. Darius Lee. Darius Lee. Before I start, Monday will be the service for him at First Baptist Corinthians Church from 12 to 4 p.m. On Thursday, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the New York handgun law. The law that was struck down required anyone wanting to carry a gun in public to prove they had a proper cause to do so. New York City is one of the most dangerous and largest cities in the country. This decision was a slap in the face, a major setback, and is dangerous for the actual people who live here. But it is also a wake-up call. These people do not care about us, our well-being, our safety, our children, our elderly, or our women. This is a reminder that the fight is nowhere near done, but it's just getting started. Not only are there mass shootings, but in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods, we lose at least one person by the gun almost every day. It's time we put our egos to the side. It is time we bridge the gap between the older and the younger generation. It is time we pull our resources and help each other out. It's time we stop saying I and start saying we. What are we going to do? When we lose our lives to police brutality, we chant on the street, whose streets? Our streets. We chant when our lives are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Well, now is the time to take our streets back. When we are losing young people to senseless violence, it's time to stand up and fight back. I'm gonna tell y'all to go and vote, but I'm also gonna tell y'all to create and provide more opportunities. Everybody in this room has at least one opportunity they can offer to a young person. Use your platforms. Bring back the neighborhood watch groups. Let's occupy these corners. You see a little boy outside getting into trouble, drag him by his ear and bring him to these programs. We're not minding our business anymore or turning a blind eye no more. Our community is our business, and it's time we reinstill love, hope, and trust in it. When it comes to local politics, educate yourself on the electeds who make policies around safer gun laws and put them in office. We need real people with real solutions. The ones who show up when nobody is looking, when there's no cameras in their face. If y'all keep voting for who y'all been voting for, y'all gonna get what y'all been getting, which is nothing. Go outside, register people to vote. Malcolm X had a speech that goes by the ballot or the bullet, and that time is right now. It's time we talk real life solutions. Just yesterday, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, making another decision that put our lives at risk and set us back completely. We have people pushing 80 years old making these decisions on our lives. The whole time they're out of touch with reality. Support the young people that are getting into politics and get them a seat at the table. If y'all don't know any, just find me at the rally and I can give y'all about 3 names. This is not only a race issue, but it is a class issue, and if they cared about the babies, they will fix the foster care system, they will provide more support for moms, they will make health care more accessible. Since abortions will remain legal in New York, we need to be sure to have protocols in these healthcare facilities that serve the ones we're claiming to want to help. We have to stay on top of the ones in power and be sure it's easy for people traveling from other states to get abortions. And lastly, that it is safe. We know our black and brown women die at disproportionate rates in these hospitals. The procedures and protocols must be safe, fair, and accessible. Organizations that focus on women's rights must be in hospitals supporting and being sure everything is running smoothly. Local elections need to stay on top of policies that will bring solutions to the issue. And us, the people, we need to continue doing the work with pure intentions, or we will continue to be our worst enemy. I want to again send my condolences to Darius Lee's family. Like Usman mentioned, me, him, and Felivi were there. Usman had an extra shirt with him. He tried to use his shirt to help. I tried to make sure that I was holding his hand so he doesn't feel alone. I'm sorry that we couldn't do more, that we weren't trained to do more, that we didn't help him as we could have. I don't think this is ever something that we'll get over, even though before that day we didn't know him. But after that day, he became someone close because we tried our best. We did everything that we could do, and if we could have did more, I wish we could. So thank you. Make sure you guys join us Monday, 12 to 4.
As we close out, we would like to bring up Boone Council, the representative, and the family to come up here if they would like to say a few words.
Good morning, family. My name is Billy Council, and on behalf of the family, I would like to say thank you to Nan, Reverend Sharpton, Ashley, Dominique, and Patrice for their overwhelming support in this time. Today, I'm just going to say a few words. I'm joined up here today with Darius's mom, his stepfather, and his 2 aunts. And in the audience, we have a host of family and friends. Our young beloved Darius was one of those young men that we want all of our young men in our community to be like. As a coach, I have been in Darius' life since he was 9 years old. And I had many times of playing against him since he was a kid. Darius and my nephew were best friends. Darius' family and I and my family are close. But the thing about this incident here as a coach, we teach our young men to do everything right. We teach our young men how to become mentors. We teach our young men how to become advocates for their friends and for their community. So I look around and I say, are we doing the right thing? We also need to understand that broken boys become broken men. So if we don't help our young men, they're gonna grow up to be broken. Darius was raised by an amazing mom, stepdad, and father. And I just want you guys to keep this family uplifted in prayer, because it's not going to heal anytime soon, and it may never heal for Darius's mom. But what we need to continue to do is to fight in his name and to protect our community. Lastly, I want everyone that's here, when you leave here, I want you to call every young person that you know and try to instill into them love one another again in our community. Because this community is a village and it's 1 degree of separation. And it's important that our kids know that they're loved. Thank you.
All right, Brother Counsel, thank you for that, and we appreciate the family being with us, and of course, they will be stood with throughout this entire process. You never know what it's like to lose a family member, and certainly a mother that loses a child is very, very difficult. Once again, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
Hold on, my brother, don't give up. Hold on, my sister, just look up. There is a master plan in store for you if you just make it through. God's gonna really blow your mind. He's gonna make it worth your time. For all of the trouble you've been through. Blessing double just for you. The best
Once again, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, accompanied by Chris Garland. Brothers and sisters, we are indeed privileged today to have with us the associate pastor of the historic Riverside Church here in the great village of Harlem. For our inspirational word segment is the Honorable Pastor Richard X.
All right.
In the name of the beneficent, the merciful, the loving and the kind, the supreme creator of the universe who calls us towards love and freedom. We thank this God for their various prophets, too numerous to name. But for our sake here today, we raise the name of the Reverend Sharpton. The Hebrew text begins with 3 words, in the beginning. In the beginning. And one could argue there isn't a more famous phrase in the entirety of the human language. In the beginning, so meek, so modest, so seemingly unassuming and unsuspecting. These 3 sacred words that the Bible compilers sought to begin their sacred work. 3 simple words that have meant so much, and yet because of our familiarity with the phrase, we often overlook its significance. In the beginning. There are 2 schools of thought concerning these 3 words, this particular creation narrative. One, that this story was whispered to the ear of Moses by both God, God's self, and the beautiful product of an oral tradition. Passed through the mouth of generation to generation, Moses penned what he had heard time and time again, that there was a God of new beginnings. Or 2, this story was carefully crafted and curated by a team of scribes during the Babylonian exile. Masterfully woven together like a grandmother's quilt, they took pieces of culture and stories and dreams and songs and began to tell the world's greatest story, that there is a God of new beginnings. Either way, neither story was written by someone actually there. Both are confessions of faith and not sight. What I want to help illuminate is that these confessions are made in the dark. Songs sung in the shadows, either in the aftermath of the Exodus or the middle of an exile. Somebody, somewhere, somehow still believed, despite the darkness, that there was a God of new beginnings. It is the persecuted, the powerless who write in the beginning. It is the downtrodden and discriminated who write in the beginning. It is the looked over and left out who write in the beginning. It is those who live every day in what we would call slave-like conditions who write in the beginning. Kins, family, friends, we need a new beginning. And I'm not speaking about some world at the end of time. I'm not speaking about some world in symbolism only, but I'm saying this world. The world made by the West from the blood and toil of the slave. This world must be made new. We need to believe again that there is a God who can make things new. We need to believe that we can write in the beginning. We need to believe that we can start over. This world built on carceral logic needs a new beginning. This world built on capitalism and materialism needs a new beginning. This world built on militarism and violence needs a new beginning. This world built on patriarchy and gendered violence needs a new beginning. This world built on imperialism and murder needs a new beginning. What if we believed again that this world could be made new? We need new. We need new institutions, uninhibited by privilege and power. We need new judicial systems, unconstrained by bigots and prejudice. We need new legislative halls unimpeded by racists and classists. We need new churches unobstructed by sexism and homophobia. We need a new constitution, a new country unhinged from its anti-black, white supremacist, imperialist, genocidal foundation. We need new. We need new. And who told us we couldn't have it? Who taught us that we couldn't have new? It wasn't Hagar who found God in the wilderness of her gendered slave experience and gave God a new name. It wasn't Moses who found God in the wilderness and led the Israelite people to a new land. It wasn't Jesus who stood and said that the Spirit of the Lord was upon him for good news to the poor and freedom to the prisoners. And this way of life is a new covenant. Who taught us that we can't have new? How long will we settle for the world as it is? America as it is, our neighborhoods as it is? How long will we ask for the old thing to be fixed, for the old thing to be reformed, for the old thing to be refashioned, for the old thing to do something new? How long will we pour old wine into new skins? We need new. 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 Now there are people who stand in the way of the new. People who see those calling for a new beginning and call them dangerous or unpatriotic or extreme. But we must only smile, for our eyes have seen new. We have new minds, new hearts, new thinking, because sometimes it's not enough to just have new people in old positions if they have the same thinking. But the Bible declares, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. We need new in our streets. We need new in our legislative halls. We need new. The infallibility of these three words does not reside in the text, but rather the promise of the text, that there is a God who can make things new. Not a God who can restore, because an auto mechanic can do that. Not a God who can just rejuvenate, because a paramedic can do that. Not a God who can just replenish, because a waiter or waitress can do that. Not a God who can just replace, because Allstate can do that. But a God who can make all things new. Because with God, it's always just the beginning.
Pastor Richard, Associate Pastor of Riverside Church in the great village of Harlem. Brothers and sisters, I want you to get on your feet. Put your hands together if you're at home for our president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. 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 Fist bump the person next to you, tell them you love them.
Change will come.
community, raised by a single mother. Father left when I was very young. But I had mentors and teachers and father figures that helped me along the way. And one of the things that I learned from all of them, James Brown, the Godfather Soul, was like my father, and then Reverend Jackson and Reverend Daughtry and others. One thing I learned is that the race isn't given to the swift, nor to the strong, but to those that can hold out and endure to the end. And I don't care what you're going through this morning, you that are listening to us on radio or watching us on our social platforms and television, whatever you're going through, giving up and quitting is not an option. If you don't quit, if you don't back down, your change will come. Your change will come. And I'm going to deal with it in the message this morning. The Supreme Court gave two devastating decisions. One on guns that affects the nation from a New York case. The other on women's right to choose with Roe versus Wade being overturned. But let me tell you, no matter what they come with, those of us that come from the struggle know that it's never been on our side. We fought for everything we got. So don't you get rattled now. Don't you get shaken now. The only reason we got Roe versus Wade in the first place is because we fought. The only reason that we were able to get gun legislation in the first place is we fought. So get your fighting gloves on. Get your war clothes ready. If we fight like we did in the first place, we're going to fight now, and our change will come. Your change will come. Change Ensemble, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning. Saturday Action Rally for you that are here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem. And for you that are watching or listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and you that are watching us and dealing with us on the live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. We're happy to be with you another Saturday morning to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Y'all give the drummer some, that's my man. And let's thank Pastor Richard X for that inspiration from Riverside Church. We're glad to have him with us this morning. let me say we're glad Attorney Hardy's back. He was at his reunion last night. And I told him, he told me that he had to go to, he was not here for the premiere of that documentary that John Legend and them did. He had to go to his 60th reunion. And I think about 4 of them was left. They did it in one room, but the Lord spared them. Let me say that before I get into any message, last week when we came out of the premiere, and I'm going to deal with this premiere thing later, and we heard about a shooting in Harlem, and later found out it was this young man in college, full scholarship, basketball, Darius Lee. And a lot of what is done by the local office here, I don't interfere with. But I said this is near where we are. And this has got to stop. And let me tell you something, a mother and a family does not plan to be victims. You know, that's why I tell families all the time that we work with in National Action Network. We'll help them financially, we'll help them whatever way we can. Because you didn't plan, you don't have to be ashamed to say I'm not prepared, because you didn't prepare to be a victim. Let's welcome, we are on Impact TV, our Impact family. The shame is not that you are not prepared, the shame is that we've not prepared our community to stop these random shootings and get these guns off the street. And I want to say, and first, give a big hand to Billy Council, who stepped in to help me. Give Billy a big hand. And then I found out from Ashley that 2 of our huddle members was there. You heard them this morning. 3 of them, and you heard them this morning. And they were traumatized, just being there. For young folk to not be able to go in the street on Juneteenth Day, on Father's Day, and not fear for their lives is not normal. We cannot act like that's all right. And the family cannot do that alone. The community must rise up and say, we cannot tolerate that. I heard some of y'all in with Derek Ferguson on What's on My Mind, and somebody brought that up. We have got to tell our young people, first of all, the romanticizing of having young people feel like all they want to be is a gangbanger and a thug. That is playing into what they wanted to belittle our people for. And when they talk about if you know anything about the shooter, let me tell you something. I keep trying to get this through, and I'm going to say it again. If you are a victim, if you had an event, you had a block party, you on your stoop, whatever it is, and people start shooting, and you tell on the shooter, you're not a snitch. That's right. A snitch is somebody that was in the crime with you and got caught and you told on everybody else. You are a victim, not a snitch. You ain't got the right to shoot me and tell me to keep quiet. We need to redefine what snitching is. You're gonna break in my house and talk about you better not talk, you a snitch. Like you got the right to break in my house. This family had the same right of any family in any neighborhood, in any community in the city to see Darius grow on in basketball and become a pro. How do you think this mother felt watching the NBA the other night, choosing who they were gonna bring on their teams? and knowing Darius could have been in that lineup one day. Their lives will never be the same. That's why this community must say, we can't give you Darius back, but we gonna stand with you and we gonna make his name mean something in the Harlem community. I heard somebody say name a street after whatever we need to do. And I told them, I met with them in private before they came out, whatever Nan needs to do, we're there after the cameras is gone. This is Gwen Carr here, the mother of Eric Garner. And Gwen will tell you, Eric was killed by police almost 8 years ago now. July to be 8 years. We were there day one, we still with her, and many others. I don't need cameras to do what I do. I got my own TV show. I don't need to get on the news. I am the news. Watch me 5 o'clock today. But I am one that believes that we got to stand with these families, and whatever they need and whatever they're going to do in Darius' name, I want them to count National Action Network again. That could have been my daughters. Could have been my grandson. It could have been yours. Talk about, I don't know Darius. Bullets don't have names on them. And it's a shame that we got so many political differences. Billy, that some folk, well, I'm going to do this unless so-and-so's involved. All of our differences ought to be put aside to stand up when a young, exemplary young man gets killed. That's a commentary on all of us. The funeral is on Monday at 1 Corinthian Baptist Church, 116th Street and Adam Craig Powell at 4 o'clock. Reverend Michael Walron, who's a member of our national board here, I'm going to come, and I want all of you NAN members, I want y'all to help pack that church to see the family, to see the support in the community. You listening to me on radio and watching me, 4 o'clock, 1 Corinthians 116th Street and Adam Creighton Powell Boulevard. Be there and stand with this family so they know they don't stand alone. Because I'm going to tell you, and nobody know better than Gwen, 2 or 3 weeks the press will be gone and everybody will be on to something else. But they will never be able to get that hole out their heart of missing Darius. Every holiday there'll be a missing seat at the table. And they need to know that people are with them now and going forward. That's why I wanted them to hear us say that publicly on the air this morning. Give the family another loving hand. Family of Darius Lee. Come on, give them a hand. Stand as close as they can to the family, and whatever Billy Council asks us to do, we will do it. And if we got resources, we'll share that, Billy, now. If we don't have it, talk to Dominique. Dominique got plenty of money. me and Ashley broke, but Dominique find a way, so we want to be there for us. Let me also remind you, as it was announced, this Thursday is legal night, last Thursday in the month, and Attorney Hardy, that has started this many years ago, and it's now been picked up in many of our chapters around the country, talking about huddle and legal night. They in Detroit, they did Occupy the Corner that we started here and continue to start. In Detroit, they did Occupy the Corner the other night. The president of the city council, Councilwoman Mary Sheffield. And so what we're doing is around the country, and I'm glad about it. And I want you all that have legal problems, legal concerns, legal questions, you can handle that on legal night. Now, a couple of things. I've got 2 cases in Queens and 1 in the Bronx I'm personally getting involved in. And we're trying to work out, I had to quarantine, so we're working it out this week. There's 2 of the cases, because some stuff I like to weigh in because I just want them to understand that some things we want to address. I can't try a case, but I can certainly lean in. And 2 of our members here was wrongly, feel they were wrongly convicted, and we're working on that. Now don't come to me with everything. That's why we got legal night. But what we can handle, we can handle. And everybody ain't what they say. Let me say, I tell that to crisis department all the time. Everybody, y'all remember, I've been arrested many times for civil rights, and one time, Bill Council, they put me in jail 90 days. You remember that, for Vieques in Puerto Rico. And everybody in the jail was innocent. They bring me downstairs, see my visitors, and they had me in isolation because I was high profile. So they wouldn't let me, in a cell with the cell block everybody else. They had me in isolation. But when they bring me down the elevator and the other prisoners see me, Reverend Al, you gotta see my case, I didn't do it. I said, you sure did. I'm innocent, right on. I know you're innocent. For 90 days, they were all innocent, and I had to live with them, so I'd say, amen, you were right on innocent. I was the only one in the building there for marching now. Some of y'all did some of this. Don't think I'm crazy now. I've been black 3 times. I was born a black baby, became a black boy, and now I'm a black man. Some of y'all did some of this stuff. But some of y'all didn't. And some of y'all didn't have the right legal representation, couldn't afford the right legal representation, was just a notch on some prosecutors' books. And that's why we have legal night, and that's why we have a crisis department with Derek, because we want to stand up for those that are right. And I give credit, some folks say, now, Reverend, I did do this, but I didn't do all of that. That's all right. You need the right representation. And we're going to stand up for it. And I'm glad about it. Let me also thank you that came, some of our active chapter auxiliary heads were guests of the premiere of this documentary they have coming out on me called Loudmouth. I told them I'm proud they call me Loudmouth. Because they would not hear us. So I had to be a loud mouth to be heard. And I did not see the film. The big singer, John Legend, is the executive producer, and Spike Lee and all of them. Robert De Niro had the premiere. Then on Juneteenth, Gwen Carr and Philonise Floyd, George Floyd brother and all. And I did not see the whole thing until that night, last Saturday night. And I was so glad, I may agree and disagree with some things of it, they had good and bad, but I was glad they had in their scene where we heard the speaking of Reverend Herbert Daughtry. I was telling Bishop Daughtry in the back that he was in the film. I would have made sure he was there if I knew he was in it. And they had him and a message from my pastor and mentor, Reverend William Jones. Because it showed, they had footage from when I was 14 years old, leading marches, that they got from the archives of the local stations, which shows when they played one scene where a lady said, who is this Al Sharpton? And then her own TV station had footage of me leading marches years before that. They knew who you are. The media purposely tries to project something if they don't want the issue dealt with. They want to create an image, and if they can discredit you, then it discredits what you're standing for. That's why I said right in the movie, Martin Luther King was indicted for stealing money out of the Montgomery bus boycott.
He was acquitted. They don't talk about that. Oh, Martin Luther King Day, no, they don't talk about how they tried to frame him. Adam Clayton Powell indicted for income tax evasion. Marcus Garvey indicted for fraud. So either all of us are crooks that are black leaders, or they have a playbook that they go. That's why jumping up being high profile is not as pleasurable as you think, because you're going to get hit. If you go after the system, they coming after you. And the thing that hurts you more is some of the folk you fighting for will turn on you. Yeah, I know you had some angle. Yeah, I'm talking about y'all. Reverend Sharpton can tell you now, pastoring or leading black folk is no easy walk. Because the same folk you help will be the same ones that'll turn on you. Well, he all right, but he could have done more. And one of the few people that I've known, I've been out here a long time, that one of the few people I know that held them accountable was Herb Daughtry. He sued Channel 5 and won. You thought I forgot that. That's how much I'm a student of yours. You thought I forgot. Many people know that off the top of their head. But he backed them up because they outright lied on him. Outright, what is the legal term? Slandered him. Defamed him. Because they just make it up. Just make it up. And I think that, you know, it's like when I was looking at the documentary, Reverend Daughtry, one of the reporters asked me, well, let me ask you, you're a civil rights leader and you dress all right and live well. You wouldn't ask anybody else that had their own TV show and radio show, how come they got a decent suit? What, I'm not supposed to get paid to do my show? So it's the double standard. And I think that we must deal with double standards, expose them, and keep going. Now, let me get down to, first of all, the gun legislation that was passed. In my judgment, it is not all that we need. President Biden this morning signed this gun legislation that came out of the bipartisan agreement in the Senate and the Congress. It will add billions of dollars to deal with mental health. It will deal with background checks on people 18 to 21 that's buying some equipment that they call equipment, which is really guns. It will deal with some of those issues that they could agree on. It does not ban automatic or military style weapons. It does not require background checks on everybody. I think when you hear them talking in the media that it's the best gun legislation that we've seen in 30 years, that's true, but it doesn't mean it's enough. Biden signed it, but we must stay on Biden and the Congress to do the rest. It is a deposit, it is not paid in full. If in the middle of seeing the massacre based on race we saw in Buffalo, and what happened 10 days later in Uvalde, Texas, if in the middle of that you couldn't come up with a comprehensive gun legislation, I don't know when it will. So we need to keep the pressure on. Don't relax. I'm glad they made a step, but they need to keep walking to preserve gun legislation. Let me tell you something. As much as these kids that are shooting and gangbanging, including what we dealing here with Darius, they don't manufacture guns. They don't manufacture bullets. And we've got to stop the manufacturers. We've got to stop those that are distributing. We got to stop those that have inundated our communities where they can give our kids guns but can't give them a job. Where they can make them feel. And some of that, I was with, Dominique went with me. I was with some of the music world guys, rap guys the other day, yesterday. Some of that, we've got to stop making it trendy in our community to act like a thug. We did not fight, march, go to jail, and some of us died for you to have the right to be a hoodlum. A price was paid, feeling that we would pay the price, that you would become somebody because we opened the doors that were shut to our parents. And for people to seduce you into being a gangbanger. I told y'all last week when I had to quarantine and do all of my work and shows out of the house. In between stuff, I, for the first time, had time to watch some of these live streams. Every show, just about every black show, got you as a hoodlum and a drug dealer. And this is programming our minds. When I was growing up, the people we'd watch on television, we wanted to be like that. Now you projected the heroes in our community as thugs and hoodlums. And we've got to be able to change the mindset of our young people by changing who we make as idols. You don't see all of that in other communities. It should not be tolerated in our community. We cannot normalize. I heard one of the, I think it was, Aaliyah probably was the one that said it. We can't normalize this kind of stuff. Well, one of the things, go back in history, we went through Juneteenth last week. The thing that they justified, we brought in 1619, they didn't form the country to 1776 in a formal way. They deemed us not full humans, so when they say all men are created equal, they were not talking about us. They're talking about white men with property. So if we were considered less than human, fast forward 400 years, they are still treating you less than human by saying like they're animals, just throw guns out there, shoot up each other. And they will not even rise up against us putting the guns out there because they're animals. The reason I'm going to fight with Huddle and the anti-violence group, Erica Ford and all them, and Building Council, is it affirms that we are not animals and not less than human. They would not tolerate this in any other community. They would not sit by and allow people to come on a holiday and shoot up the block and their basketball star get killed without everybody in the community rising up. And we shouldn't tolerate it because we're not what they made us to be. We are full human beings made in the image of God, and our communities ought to reflect that. These streets our kids are on, these streets that Paul Robeson walked, streets Adam Clayton Powell walked, streets Malcolm X walked, and they need to know that you're walking in the footsteps of giants. You're walking in the footsteps of people that changed the world, not just some footsteps of people that stood on a corner selling dope and prostitution. You got to be able to have a certain mindset to even feel that drugs will solve your problem. And it reinforces low self-esteem. You know, when they put people in drug rehab, the first thing they got to do is change their mind. The reason why a lot of people don't advance is they have a backward mentality. That's why people talk about I can't get nowhere in life, because you're living in reverse. You get in the car and they hit reverse and then wonder why you ain't advancing, because you got a reverse gear on. You got to have a forward thinking. Well, you know, Reverend, it just wasn't fair for me. It ain't been fair for nobody. You ain't the first one that had a problem. Everybody in here got a problem. Person sitting right next to you right now got a problem. And if I went around the room, everybody could tell you a problem they got. As soon as the rally over, I got to hear Hardy's problem. I don't even know what it is, but I know he got one. The question is not having a problem. The question is what you gonna do about the problem. And now I've learned through my years that problems are to be solved. Sometimes God gives you a problem, so it is a challenge for you to solve. I do morning thoughts on Instagram, and I was talking about this morning, how I learned how to use my haters to my benefit. My haters have become my helpers. Because my haters might bring up something that I need to tighten up. Oh, Reverend Al this, Reverend Al that. And I used to get mad. Now I'd be like, well, maybe they got a little point. I need to check that out. They used to do cartoons on me, Billy. Fat Al. But look at me now. They was right. Let your haters be your helpers. Hear what they're saying and see if you need to tighten something up, because you're able and capable of doing and being what anybody else can be. That's why I like that documentary. I didn't come from no heavenly place and drop down. I come from the bottom up. And when you come from the bottom up, you're going to have some stuff on your clothes. You can't come out of a muddy pit and not get some mud on you. I made mistakes. I don't hide my mistakes. I put them out there. The brother said to me once, well, Reverend, now we dug up so-and-so on you. I said, well, let me tell you some stuff y'all ain't dug up. I done some more stuff than that. But God brought me through anyhow. Don't hide your mistakes. Say, despite your mistakes, I made it anyhow. My stumbling did not become my resting place. And that's what we've got to put in these young people. Don't be ashamed if you stumble. Be ashamed if you don't get on up and correct yourself and keep going. I speak at a lot of colleges, and I tell these young people, if I walk in here right now, all these people in here in the auditorium, if I walked over to where you sit and knocked you off your seat, that's on me. Had no business walking over, assaulting you, knocked you off your seat, that's on me. But if we come back here next Saturday morning and you still laying on the floor, that's on you. What I mean by that, even if you are not responsible for being down, you're responsible for getting up. And if you depend on those to knock you down, to lift you up, you'll never get up, because if they wanted you up, they'd have never knocked you down. If you're down, get up. And if you don't have the strength to get up, roll over and look up till you can figure out how to get up. We need to raise our community back into thinking of going up. And all of this shooting, all of this one to another that we are putting on each other, we have got to stop. And we got to be helpers of one another. So we really want to see this gun stuff go forward. Now, the other decision, I won't break this down. The danger of the Supreme Court on yesterday overturning Roe versus Wade is not only the danger of them taking away women's right to choose, which would disproportionately impact our community. Let me be real clear. What this law meant is they have in several states, it will trigger, I'm gonna deal with this on Politics Nation 5 o'clock today. It triggers they call them certain trigger states, where they already had the law set that there it became illegal immediately to have an abortion because you no longer have the federal protection that women have right to an abortion. So Mississippi, Arkansas, a few states triggered right away. Which means that if somebody in that state wants an abortion, well, the only way they can get it is they have to now go to another state that is still legal. And a lot of those states are going to start changing the law. If you don't have the money and the resources, which is why it will discriminate against poor folk, you're going to end up going back in these back alleys, which is going to cause death. So that's the physical danger of this. But the other thing that you can't miss is that what they are doing at the same time is bringing back a states' rights model on rights in this country. That's a threat to everybody. They start with saying, well, abortion rights is determined by the states. Next it'll be gay rights, LGBTQ rights are determined by the state. Next it'll be voting rights and civil rights. It was states' rights that the Civil War was about. So you run around talking about, well, I don't believe in abortion, but you're going to have states' rights come catch you. It's not about what you believe, it's whether people have the right to go by what they believe. You can't govern by your religion. You govern by your making sure it is fair that you can practice your religion or others practice what they believe. The Bible didn't tell you to make laws. It says enforce God's law. It didn't say make those in the state go by law. That's why God gave you a choice of heaven or hell. Now I may think what you do is going to put you in hell, but you got the right to go. And I don't have the right to force you on my religion. I remember when I was running for president and I said I'm not opposed to same-sex marriage. A couple preachers called me, Reverend Al, you know, yeah, that's a little too far from me preaching. My church, you taking that position. I'm gonna wait a year or two for to invite you back. I said, well, let me ask you something. What is the problem? I did not say you gotta marry somebody. I'm saying people have the right to marry if that's what they want to do. Yeah, but marriage is religious and sacred. I said, okay, I got that. I said, but let me ask you a question. When somebody in your church get ready to have a divorce, do they go to the pastor or to the judge? Say, no, you go to the court. So marriage is legal and civil, not just religious, ain't just sacred. If you, one of these holy rollers, a couple of y'all in here, run up and down and hallelujah, when you get ready to get a divorce, you come and have your divorce settlement determined by your pastor. Don't even go to court. I bet you lose that spirit then. So if marriage is also a legal civil question, then don't impose that on somebody else. And you cannot fight for rights without giving everybody the right. Come tell you, we're getting ready to head into some dark days. Clarence Thomas and that whole crowd is getting ready to try and reverse every right and make it a state's rights with no protection by the federal government. Let me tell you something. There was a time, here's the irony. If states' rights had stayed in the model that we ran the country, Clarence Thomas would have never got to law school. Because he was born and raised in Georgia. And states' rights would have banned him and Daughtry from going to law school. Clarence Thomas in some states would not have been able to legally marry his white wife. I mean, that's a fact. How is a black man from Georgia married to a white woman gonna stand up and advocate for states' rights? You are benefiting from a national federal civil rights movement. You gain from that. And there's nothing worse than people that gain from things, and when they get in position, they forget what put them in that position. And they pull up. You climb a ladder and then pull it up where nobody else can climb up behind you. There's nothing worse than that. You get a little title, get a little piece of job, and you act like you're the only Negro that's smart enough to do that. People fought for you to get in that position. I was at a corporation the other day, meeting and saying today I would fund some of the things we do at the National Conference of Black Churches about COVID, and y'all need to fund this and all that. And about 3 or 4 white executives in the room and 1 black guy. And he's sitting there like he don't understand. White guys, I'm saying it's disproportionate. Our communities, our churches can do the testing. Dr. Richardson is doing this, that, and the other. We've got to get the support, so we had the resources to do it. He's sitting there all quiet. We get ready to leave. They say, we'll get back to you, we'll get back to Dr. Richardson. He walks me to the elevator. You know, I used to go to so-and-so church. My mother's a mother there. Shame to say this in front of them. And I said to them, well, why do you say that inside? Well, you know, I just don't like to let them know. But the only reason you hear is because folk like me fought to make sure these corporations hired black folk. They didn't invite you up here. We broke the door down to bring you in here. You ain't the first qualified Negro in America. That Negro's qualified before you. The worst ailment I've seen in my life, Gwen Carr, is people suffering from Negro amnesia. They forgot how they got where they got. Preachers that preach everything but about the circumstances that we face. Well, you know, right now you talk a lot about politics and social. Everybody in the Bible preached about what was going on in the time that they were ministering. Moses didn't preach about Sodom and Gomorrah. Read the Bible. Moses talked about freeing the slaves out of bondage in Egypt. Moses didn't talk about, you know, what happened to Lot. Moses talked about, in the name of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I come. And that God will back me up. I don't understand preachers in 2022 that has a 100 BC message on Sunday. You're in 2022. Now you can refer to before Christ, but apply it to right now. Otherwise, why did God call you for now if all you're going to deal with is what happened? I be watching these videos, and every sermon is the what happened was sermon. Let me tell you what God did for Job. Let me tell you what did God do for you? And what can God do now? And if you are a minister and can't deal with the oppression and affliction and what we are living under now, then you have an irrelevant gospel. God ain't irrelevant, you are. This whole sense of taking our rights back and degrading us is bad enough. It's the self-degradation that I want us to deal with. That's why I'm saying from what we do with this family around Darius all the way to what we allow in our community where our rights will be taken is a matter of self-esteem. And it's a matter of our telling the world. When I was growing up, late 70s and the 70s into the 80s, it was a movement like it was in the 30s of the Harlem Renaissance, of black consciousness, where we identified for ourselves who we were to the world. They used to meet House of the Lord Church, Timbuktu, in the middle of the week. G2 and them had an African festival out there in the at Boys High. And I was a teenager. I was already an activist, I was a teenager. We defined for ourselves who we were. Somewhere along the way, we let them start defining us to us. And they demonize those that define us for us. You can't let them tell you who you are. You got to stand up and tell the world who you are. I told y'all down through the years, all of us have used derogatory terms that we needed to stop. Why? Because words have power. That was in the documentary. Mrs. King sat me down one day, Martin Luther King's wife, and said, you gotta quit using slang. Words have power. You raise kids to think they're nothing but the N word, or the B word, or the H word. They become thinking like that. We've got to stop allowing that even in our artists. Every record calling themselves a bunch of names. What do you think that projects in our kids? Talk about bang bang, shoot them up. That's what leads to a Darius. Because they feel it is trendy and black to be acting like a thug in the street. Blackness was not about how low you could go. Blackness was about no matter how low they had you, you found a way to rise up anyhow. We told ourselves who we are. And once you tell yourself who you are and believe who you are, the world will have no choice but to deal with your self-definition. Once you know who you are, you don't respond. If I walked over you and called you somebody else, you wouldn't respond because I'm not talking to you. Because I got your name wrong. Well, the same is when you call me the N-word. You ain't talking to me. I am not no nigger from Harlem. I'm an heir to African royalty. I'm an heir to God creating the heavens and earth in the land that I come from. Don't call me no nigger. Don't sing me no nigger. I don't carry around myself as a nigger with a gun. I'm a proud black man with a book that can stand up and do what anybody else can do. And that's what we got to put back in our children. And they cannot, we can't blame that on them. We got to stop tolerating it ourselves. Something we ought not tolerate. That's why I was reading that scripture, and I'll let you go. That scripture where they had conquered God's children. And they had them down by the waters. And they mocked them. You know, just like they mock us now, they make us clowns. So they can laugh at us. They project us in negative ways. And they give us situations that we cannot look as thoughtful people. So they mocked the Israelites. And they said, you know, let's have some fun. Why don't y'all sing one of them songs of Zion? Entertain us. That's what they do to us now. Y'all, you know, we like y'all's music. You know, get up on stage and get us a beat going. You know, you got on your pants down to your knees and you're looking like you just rolled out of bed. Got gold teeth you ain't brushed. Sing us one of them songs. Do us one of them songs. Entertain us. That's part of the things that somebody can oppress you. That's part of what is part of their bounty. To mock who they've conquered. That's part of the bounty. They did in slavery. Y'all sing us some of them gospel songs. And the master would sit out in front of the house while his darkies entertained him and buck dance in front of him. Stop being the entertainer for them. That's where they got that thing where y'all see where they got the blacks that they put the statues in the house in front of the homes, holding up the lanterns.
Yeah.
That all is part of the imagery of my bounty as an oppressor. So in the Bible they said, sing us one of those songs of Zion. And the answer they gave was, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? And they hung their harps in the wilderness, saying they couldn't sing the Lord's song. But here's where, Dorothy, I would differ, is that I could not entertain them, but I could sing the Lord's song. Because the Lord's song is something that energizes me and connects me to the freedom and empowerment that I seek. I can sing the Lord's song even in a strange land, because if I sing it long enough, the land that is strange will have to follow me. Yes, they went against Roe versus Wade, but I'm going to sing the Lord's song. Yes, they put guns out here with a constitutional issue where now you can wear your gun outside your house, but I'm going to sing the Lord's song. Yes, they shot Darius down. It wouldn't happen in another community, but I'm going to sing the Lord's song. I'm going to take my harp off the willows. I will sing the Lord's song, even in a strange land. Why? Because the Lord's song makes me connect with the power that God gave me. I refuse to bow to my oppressor. I refuse to entertain him. I will give thanks to the Lord, because he's good. He brought me from a mighty long way. And the same God that broke the chains of slavery, the same God that brought me from the back of the bus, is the same God that I sing his song even in a strange land. I will give thanks unto him, because he's worthy to be praised. So don't be dispirited. Don't be sad. Let us recommit ourselves that we're going to deal with this gun stuff and sing the Lord's song. We're going to deal with this Roe versus Wade, sing the Lord's song. We come too far from where we started from. We've had too many battles we had to fight. And we've lasted too long to give up now. I'm going to keep going on. One of the things that my mother used to sing after Daddy left and we was on welfare and get food stamps, and Mama would always be humming every morning I get up. She loved that song, I will trust in the Lord until I die. I'm going to stay on the battlefield until I die. Why did Mama sing that? Because you can trust a God that never lets you down. Congress lets me down, but I'm going to trust in the Lord. Some of my leaders elected get downtown and forget me, but I will trust in the Lord. The reason I'm not afraid of what the Supreme Court did is I will trust in the Lord. And if I trust in the Lord, he'll make a way out of no way. How do I know? Not because what I read, I know him for myself. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me that I'm his own. I will trust in the Lord until I die.
I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord until I die. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord till I die. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield until I die. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield till I die. Father, I stretch my hand to thee. No other help I know. Oh, if thou withhold thyself from me, oh, where shall I go?
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. We want justice. We want justice. We want justice. We want freedom. Got to have freedom. Everybody's singing. Yes. I'm opening the doors of the movement. There may be someone today that never joined National Action Network. We're stronger when we're together. We are stronger when we operate as a unit. And I know you may have your own ideas and own ways, but you need to be part of a unit that you can put your ideas and your ways to work. And this unit is National Action Network. And if you're not with us, you can join now. We need you. We want you. We want your ideas, your energy. And all you have to do to join is just walk down either aisle, and I will sign you up this morning to join National Action Network. Won't you come, if you're not a member, won't you come forward right now and join? Now, come on, everybody singing. Come on. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Come on. Yeah. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. We want freedom. Everybody sing it. One more time. One more time. One more time. Everybody singing. One last time. One last time. One last time. All right. We're going to raise our offering. Glad to see my brother and friend, Brother Terrence Floyd, in the house. Glad to see Terrence. Terrence is one of our strong activist leaders. We're going to be doing a lot together. Glad to see him in the house. All right, we're going to raise our offering. Want everybody to give to the best of their ability. I want everybody to give to the best of their ability. I need about 10 people to get all us started and give $100 or more to come quickly. 10 people. Anonymous, $200. Guardians, $100. Bishop Herb Daughtry, $100. Minister Winston Gilchrist, $100. The plate's this way, Dominique. Carolyn Jones, $100. Come on, come on, come on. I got about 9. I need one more. I think it's coming. Brother Hirschman, $100. All right. Thank you. Give me some 50s. 50, 50, 50. Brother David. Sister Dawn Jones, one of our national board members. See Minister Carolyn coming. All right, Terrence Floyd coming, $50. All right, thank you, Terrence. All right, 20s, 20s, 20s. Karen Weiss. Everybody, whatever you have, $1, $2, $5, whatever you have. Bishop Herbert Daughtry in the house. All right. All right. All right, let me tell you, we're going to take in new members and then dismiss, but before I do that, all of you with a June birthday stand up, is born in June. June birthday. Come on up to the front. Come up to the front of your June birthday. Come on, we got a birthday cake for all our June members. Come on, come on, come on, come on. If your mama told you you was born in June, come on up. Come on, happy birthday to you. Come on up, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. One more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right, one of y'all fan out there. There you go, there you go. All right, thank you. All right, happy birthday. You know, some folk in our community ain't got nobody to say happy birthday to. If you remember here, we're gonna celebrate your birthday if nobody does. Because we family. All right, let's bring on the new members. We family here. Everybody have some cake and celebrate your birthday. You that are on a diet, get a glass of water and celebrate your birthday. All right, when I call your name, raise your hand. Learline Romine, I love that, Romine. Learline Romine and Jacob Pitt. Put God first, I like that. But let me welcome both of you to National Action Network. I'm so glad you stepped forward to join. We want you to be a part of us. We have different committees you can work with, or you may have ideas that you have that we could be enlightened by and work with you on. We want your ideas, we want your energy, we want your strength. We need that. And we're glad to have you with us. Face the audience and welcome them. Welcome them. Welcome them to the National Action Network. Give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. All right. All right. Let us all stand. We're going to sing Amazing Grace, dismiss, and you that want to fist bump one another, do that. You don't want to fist bump with me, you come forward and do that. Not a meeting. I done stood up and preached an hour. I am not, I will give you the staff. We handle whatever you want, but I would love to greet you. But I can't meet with everybody. And plus, we got to meet with this family and take care of their situation. All right, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Repeat after me, we're an African people. Robbed of our name, our language, our families, our self-respect. But we shall rise, never to fall again. Up, you mighty race, we can accomplish what we will. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Fist bump with the one you're next to, fist bump with me before you